next discussion will be about the fight that we have all been looking forward to for the past 5 years: Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather, or
Money Man Mayweather.
or Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao, however you want to say it. So, you know, the, the thing about this fight was, people have just been no way to say it. They've just been waiting for this fight to happen since 2009. And with all this stuff that's happening, one person didn't wait. Pacquiao didn't want to get a drug test, and the whole thing with the promoters. It's finally happening. It's almost like a dream.
Yeah, but Rob, one of the issues I have with this fight, and I'm very happy that they're finally fighting, but I'm kind of disappointed that it's taken this long. As you said,
Exactly.
6 years. So what quality fight are you gonna get? Back in 2009, that Pacquiao and Mayweather at the top of their game, so to speak.
And in that time, Pacquiao basically fought Marquez, I think, twice. Already fought him for a third time and got, knocked out pretty badly. So
Yeah,
that took
he
some
was
luster
put
off
to
the fight.
sleep.
Yeah.
Put to sleep, literally. But I'm happy that on May 2nd at MGM Grand in Las Vegas, they're gonna be fighting. But
Gotta bring the Canes and Walkers out because these guys are pushing 40. So.
yeah, but I already heard that there's a purse for like $400 million for the fight already.
For both combined.
Yeah, for both combined, with Floyd bringing in 60, I think,
And
Pacquiao coming with 40. That's typical Floyd.
yeah, I wanted to get the higher, but it's okay. He's Money Mayweather for a reason.
I mean, it's cool. Pacquiao's gonna knock him out because
Yeah, I actually agree with you on that one. I'm not the biggest Floyd Mayweather fan.
Besides Floyd's eccentric behavior, and he's not really eccentric, but his personality is.
He's not exactly the most likable either.
No, I think that boxing-wise, he's a weak boxer because all he relies on is speed, but more than that,
His defense.
he relies on his defense.
I
So
mean, if that's what he wants to fight, all power to him. But if you're going based off who has better hit power, then that's Pacquiao.
oh, and you know what? Pacquiao has been able to dominate at multiple levels in multiple different weight classes, whereas Floyd, not so much. Floyd doesn't have the same history, the same technical soundness that is really required to go make that jump from lower weight classes to heavier weight classes as Pacquiao has. And I think Pacquiao's a more natural fighter. Floyd, with his father's help and
Yeah.
all that training from birth, and I think that Floyd might be breeded
Yes.
for boxing. But I think Pacquiao has the natural knack for it.
Yeah, Pacquiao I guess he took up boxing and he was into it, and decided that he'd start taking it seriously and start training for real, and he's
Yeah.
becoming one of the all-time greats. He has almost the same record as Ali. Obviously, different weight classes, different times, but Ali I think was 56-5, and Pacquiao was 57-5. So, it's up there.
So, do you have any plans for watching the game? What are you gonna do?
To be honest, if I could afford it, I'll get it. But I'm not really a huge boxing fan. I follow it somewhat, but I feel like a fight like this I have to watch. So if I'm able to afford the $60 or whatever it is on pay-per-view, I'm gonna watch it.
Or are we going down to Shorty's in New York City?
I don't think they might. I don't know if they're gonna have it.
Oh, come on. It's the biggest fight ever. One of the
but-
biggest fights
Yeah,
ever.
pay extra for that. I'm not sure they're willing to do that. But you know what? Who knows? Who knows? One thing for sure is I'm not flying out there and getting a ticket. Let's discuss.
No,
The ramifications about that.
yeah, I mean, isn't it ridiculous that an airplane flight there and back round trip is about $300?
Ridiculous.
Meanwhile, I mean, $300 round trip, that's okay. That's Vegas, but when you look at the price for the fight, the cheapest seat in the house is over $3,000.
Actually, no. I actually got an update. I think it was like 1,000, which is still not much better.
Well, what do you look at?
All right, the cheapest. Well, you know what? Even if the
SeatGeek.com, I believe. So, because StubHub didn't have the tickets yet available,
Yeah.
but I'm not certain of where you got your tickets from.
I got it from a report, but they all pretty much said that
Huh?
they all got it from a report. So I got it from an article where they said the cheapest ticket was about $1,000. But you know what? 1,000, 3,000, still a lot. I can't really. You're not gonna argue over which price is better. They're both
It's ridiculous.
up there. I actually heard in that same article that to get ringside seats is about $250,000, and something with credit with MGM Grand. It's just mind blowing. You know, the wealthiest of the wealthy would probably be sitting ringside at that fight. That's how big of a deal this fight is.
You know, and I think that this really does bring up the disparity between people in America and what you're really able to afford.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that we have to, and this crosses over into politics. I think that whether you're talking about goods at the supermarket or the gas or ticket prices, you have to find a way to go make things more affordable for citizens to go enjoy. Because, you know, if all life really is just going to work and then going home and repeating the cycle again, then really
Might as well get something out of it.
What is the point if you're just a slave to your own labor, basically?
Exactly. You know,
And there was once a time where kids could go to day games at Yankee Stadium, whatever, for very reasonable prices, and you know, times like that, they inspired people, and there was actually like a sense of, I don't know, being very familiar with your team rather than looking at your team through a different prism and saying, oh, they're all owners and executives and elites, and
which is funny because that's how most of the Yankee crowd is now. You know, I'm not trying to bash the team, but
no, I definitely agree with you on that, and you know, it's very hard to get into a Yankee game or a Pacquiao Mayweather fight, and meanwhile,
although a Pacquiao Mayweather fight would be a lot more difficult because it's only gonna happen once.
Yeah, but
if it took them this long to fight,
yeah,
I don't think they're gonna fight again. You know, it's not gonna be like
no,
like, Pacquiao and Marquez. You know, they fight like 4 times. You know, it's not gonna happen.
No, but I think that also when we look at this fight, I think that there's also another problem when you look at back then, the days of Ali, Foreman, and the likes,
and Frazier and such.
Frazier and Lewis, and Marciano. All these guys, they were heavyweight fighters. We don't have any more heavyweight bouts anymore. We have. This is a lightweight fight, basically.
I think it's welterweight. I could be wrong, but I think it's welterweight.
But how much are they? 150, 160?
About 140. Like
yeah.
High 140s. I'm not.
140, 150, whatever.
There's like so many weight classes now. I can't even keep track.
Yeah, and you know they're all going up 25, dropping 40. You know, consistently.
I don't really think that's that healthy. I mean,
it isn't that healthy. But
there's a history of great like lighter weight boxers. You know, obviously you have Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, and all those guys.
Yeah.
You know, Sugar Ray Robinson.
Huh.
You know, so there's been a lot of like lighter weight fighters, but heavyweights is usually, you know, when people say you're a heavyweight, when they're talking about it, it's usually a compliment, like he's a heavyweight, he's important, you know?
Oh, yeah, and I mean, that's what really made boxing great here in this country, when you used to have those fights, watching Ali, watching Frazier, watching Foreman, watching Lewis, watching
Tyson.
Marciano. Yeah, you know, those fights at Yankee Stadium or at the Garden, we're watching the Thrilla in Manila or whatever, Rumble in the Jungle. You know, that was exciting, and I think that for boxing to really come back in this country, because at one point it might have been the most popular sport.
At one small point probably, but I guess you say that, yeah.
Or up there,
Up there, yeah. You know.
And I think that the sport has to start focusing on bringing back some of the heavier weight classes, and really not just having like heavy guys that are just fat. No, having heavy muscular guys.
I mean, there are some good heavyweights out there, but they're just not branded right, you know?
They aren't promoted correctly.
Yeah, promoted, yes.
And once this fight washes away and the dust has been settled between Pacquiao and Mayweather, then we should start looking on how we can actually refurbish the sport and make it better.
Yes, one thing I feel like this fight will put boxing back on the map, because boxing hasn't been important for the past decade plus. No. So I feel like this fight will put boxing back on the map, you know. And also another thing I want to mention, you know, we talked about how expensive the ticket prices are. Obviously, you know, pay-per-view, you know, being about 60 or 50. I'm not sure. They're 70, 80. I don't know what the price is for pay-per-view. But it would be so bad if people spend all those money on tickets and someone gets knocked out in the first round, you know, like one of Tyson's victims or something like that. Now, that's probably not going to happen. because Mayweather doesn't really
Well,
knock people
well,
out.
it's
Other than
interesting
that.
that you bring up Tyson. And Tyson, he was definitely a different breed of people, so to speak. Definitely a little different.
Yeah, inside in the ring and out.
Yeah, but
Still is. In
you know,
fact.
that was a very interesting time for boxing,
Yeah,
and
late 80s.
late 80s, and a lot of people, that was very exciting. People were actually into the sport, and again, you need, I think, a true heavyweight to really bring back the sport.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literal heavyweight.
Yeah.
Heavyweight. So, that's basically all the stuff about the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight. It will be on May 2nd at the MGM Grand Arena in Las Vegas. So now we're going to switch to a team sport and the current most popular sport in this country, the NFL. Now, the Super Bowl was a month ago. No, a little less than a month ago. And that basically, the NFL teams are starting the process all over again. And, now the NFL Combine just passed. So, I'll be honest, I didn't watch it. I feel like people just watch this because it involves the NFL, but the Combine is it's like the Oscars to me. It's supposed to be important, but nobody really watches it and they get bored. Just like the Oscars. So, we're going to have a discussion about the NFL Combine on whether it's really important or not. So, Billy, want to start? Or
Well, when we look at recent history in the NFL, I think that we do see a certain value on the NFL Combine. Definitely for people from lower and less known schools to really make themselves known in case, if you're playing a weak conference and people don't really know how athletic you are, then if you put up mind-blowing numbers and staggering numbers on the board, then that could really help you and propel you. But on the other side, we've seen with Tom Brady that, his 40-yard dash when he was at the NFL Combine.
they show that video all the time. It was awful.
It's hilarious. It's like an SNL spoof. But I think that, there are going to be many scouts in the NFL and GMs and executives that are going to go look at, obviously, the contrast between Mariota and Winston.
And here's the thing. I didn't mean to cut you off there. I apologize.
No problem.
But Mariota is more athletic. He's obviously going to shine more in the Combine. But
Yeah.
on the field, Jameis Winston's a better quarterback. Because,
Well,
and also Jameis Winston, obviously, they have the picture, whatever, him overweight. And then once the Combine was over and they actually did throwing drills and position drills, he was blowing people away.
Well, in the NFL, we've seen this with the stark contrast between the careers of Andrew Luck and RG3 down in D.C.
Yes.
That athleticism at the quarterback position is not a requirement.
If you have it, then it's good.
But in some instances, if you're always running the ball as if you're a running back or a hybrid between a QB and a running back, obviously you're going to increase your likelihood of being injured. And being a quarterback is not about running. It's about being a passer and executing
It's about having the
the
mind.
command at hand. And Jameis Winston, I don't know if on an IQ level, if he's as smart as Mariota. I'm not able to judge who's smarter. But I can say,
In terms of football knowledge, then.
in terms of football knowledge, I'm not able to say that either. But I am able to say that while rallying the troops or other people of the core, that is the offense, he has a charisma or a way to go break through and really rally that offense around him. And we saw that at FSU.
the guy's a winner. He lost one game.
Plain and simple, Jameis Winston's a winner. So because Marcus Mariota runs a 4-yard dash and, I don't know, about half a second faster, and that is pretty big. Still, it isn't going to change the ball game, really.
Let's put this into perspective. Let's be honest. How important is it really how fast an offensive lineman can run? Let's be honest. I know the offensive lineman.
Not that important, but let's talk about the issue of Tom Brady. How silly would it be today if we brought up Tom Brady's 40-yard dash and said Tom Brady is not a great quarterback because of his 40-yard dash?
It doesn't make any sense. And also, I don't think he had a high vertical or anything like that.
No, it makes no sense. It has to be on skill, and ultimately that's what football is. It's a game of skill and it brings out the true emotions of the warrior, the football player, in throughout the game of football, throughout the battle.
And also, one thing you end up having is these combine stars, do a great broad jump, they look super athletic, and then you're not going to remember their name because they were drafted because they just can't play.
No, and, obviously...
Well, I don't mean to say I can't play. Obviously, I don't play football, but, these guys are going to the NFL, they should know what they expect. But
yeah, I mean, obviously, you're going to have skilled receivers and skilled running backs who you thought are very talented on the field. They're obviously going to post mind-staggering numbers, and that's great. But you have to remember that doing well in a 4-yard dash is not the requirement.
Yeah, it's
an addition. It supplements it. What first you need to look at is how they've performed in the NCAA.
And also the competition that they went up against is really
the competition they went up against. And also you have to focus on their makeup, their personal integrity, and how you think that they will be able to handle the monster and the beast that is the NFL in a 21st century dominated by media. And no, but again, I want to get back to the point. I think that the NFL Combine does serve a purpose where
I just feel like it's like overblown. I feel like
definitely
they turn into like a watered down Olympics pretty much.
Definitely. But yeah, I mean, so many players, they don't really focus on the game of football. All they focus on is their bench press or anything like that. I mean, because they know that, hey, if I get a certain amount of views on Twitter or on YouTube, people will think that I'm a great star and I'll get ticket office.
Like if you're a football player and you're
sales going,
and you're more worried about bench press and how fast you can run, be a decathlete, go to the Olympics,
Yeah.
But NFL is a different beast.
But I think on the other hand, Rob, we still have to keep the NFL Combine there because it will help us see where players need a tweaking or fine tuning. Jameis Winston, I don't know if he has a conditioning problem or whatever, or some of these players, they do come in with a conditioning problem, and that might be an issue over the long run, over a 16-game season, playoffs, preseason,
Absolutely.
Training camp. But I also think that it serves a purpose in that, let's say you're playing in a mid-major, or let's say you're playing at UMemphis or wherever. You're a very good player. Let's say you're Randy Moss at Marshall. And those numbers, they might help you because, people might not think that your numbers at Marshall or wherever you are, Memphis, wherever, are legitimate numbers. They might think, oh, you're eating up on weaker competition. But no, you're just proving your game, and you are against weaker competition, but that's just a coincidence.
And also, you can't even use the excuse that he was in a system that helped. Because that's only really for quarterbacks. A receiver's job is to run routes and catch passes.
Yeah.
A quarterback, like Marcus Mariota, for example, took advantage of the scheme that was at Oregon. So that's our discussion on NFL Combine. We will be right back with more topics.
Thank you.